National anthem. Our own dear native land, though tribe at all medieval, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians are all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Opening prayer. Almighty God, ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions so that we will always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen. You can take it. My distinguished colleagues, please, you may wish to look through the rules and proceedings of yesterday and make sure that all entries are in line with our resolve yesterday, that they are all within with what we did yesterday. I start with page 1581, 1582, 1583, 1584, 1585, 1586, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 1,600, 601, 602, 603, 604, 1,605, page 1,606, 607, 608, 609, 610, 1,610, 611, page 16112, page 1613, 614, 1615, 616, 617, 618, 619, 1620, page 1621, 622, 623, 624, 625, 626, 627, 628, 629, 1630. One 631, 1632, 1633, 1634, 1635, 1636, 1637, page 1638, 1639, 1640, page 1641, 1642, 1643, 1644, 1645, 1646, 1647, 1648, 1649, page 1650, 1651, 1652, 1653, 1644, 1654, sorry, 1655, 1656, 1657, 1658, 1659, 1660, page 1661, 662, 663, 664, 1665, 666, 667, page 1668, 669, 1670, 1671, 1672, 1673, page 1674, page 1675. Senator Professor Anthony Ani Okore. you may move for the adoption of the vote and proceeding.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Professor Anthony Ani. I represent Ebonyi South. I rise to move that the votes and proceedings of Wednesday to 6th March 2025 be adopted as correct recordings. I so move.
Distinguished Senator High Chief Benson Sunday Agadaga, you may wish to second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Is High Ijo Chief. Very respected Ijo Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Senator Chief Benson Sunday Agadaga is my name. I speak for the good people of Bayelsa East Senatorial District in Bayelsa State. I rise, Mr. President, to second the motion ably moved by distinguished Senator Anthony Ani for the adoption of the votes and proceedings of yesterday. I so second. Thank you, Mr. President.
The motion for adoption has been moved by Senator Professor Anthony Ani and seconded by distinguished Senator High Ijo Chief Sunday Agadaga. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The votes and proceeding of yesterday is hereby adopted. Thank you. Okay, we'll start with the children. I'm pleased to announce the presence of the students of Immaculate Scholars, School Kubwa, Abuja, who are in our gallery to observe the Senate proceedings of today. You are all welcome. Young men, young boys and girls, you are the leaders of tomorrow. We wish you happy view of our proceeding of today. You are most welcome. God bless you. You may wish to sit down. Birthday announcement. Distinguished colleagues, Tuesday, the 25th day of March 2025, was the birthday of Senator Abiru Mukail Adito Kumbo. Today, 27 March 2025, is the birthday of Senator Adebomire Adeni Ayodele, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. On behalf of the Senate, I wish the distinguished senators happy birthday, long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to our fatherland. Thank you. Wedding notification. It is with great pleasure and regards that I write on behalf of myself and my family. This is a notification from the former Senate leader, Senator Dr. Yahya Abdullahi, CON, and it reads as follows. It is with great pleasure and regards that I write on behalf of myself and my family to formally notify and invite Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, and my distinguished colleagues to my son Bashir Yahya Abdullahi's wedding to Miss Sabila Omar Bawa, which is scheduled to take place as follows. Date, Friday, 2nd May 2025. Venue, Boso Estate Mosque, Mina, Niger State. Time, 1:30 p.m. To be a great honor and privilege for me to receive the presence of the distinguished President of the Senate and all distinguished senators, senator colleagues at the venue of the wedding prayer. I will further appreciate those who could not make it to the venue to kindly consider the couple in their prayer. Please accept the assurances of my very warm regards and esteem. Senator Yahya Abdullahi, PhD, OON, CON, Kebbi North Senatorial District. Another announcement from Senator Benson Sunday Agadaga, MON, Agadema 1 of Ogbia Kingdom of Bayelsa State. Invitation, support for my daughter's wedding. I have the pleasure to inform His Excellency, the President of the Senate, the distinguished Senate President, and my distinguished colleagues that my daughter, Ms. Tracy Agadaga, has found her heartthrob in Kano, and the matrimonial bond is slated for 26 April 2025 in Yanagua, Bayelsa State. May I add that the Christian wedding ceremony holds at the King of Glory Chapel, Government House, Yanagua, by 9 a.m. Reception, traditional wedding, however, takes place at the PEE's Hub Event Place along DSP Alamia Siagba Road, Opolo, Yanagua, by 1 p.m. I count on your usual cooperation, kind support, and prayers of my distinguished colleagues in honoring this invitation with your dignified presence at this unique and epoch-making ceremony. Accept, as ever, the assurances of my highest esteem and warm regards. Senator Chief Benson Sunday Agadaga, MON, Chairman. Any petition? Yes, Senator Friday Benson Kuboy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to forward this petition from a constituent, an appeal for the Senate to intervene in the matter of Chief Ezekiel Eriaye. Mr. President, I'm Senator Komboe Friday Benson, representing Bayelsa Central Senatorial District. A petition forwarded by Chief Ezekiel Eriaye and Chief James Wege against Nigerian Ajib Oil, now Ohando Limited, for alleged inhuman cruelty, servitude, flagrant disobedience to the law of equity, social justice, consent, and deliberate continuous refusal to adequately compensate Chief Ezekiel Eriaye and Chief James Wege for their life-threatening great bodily harm by now Ohando.
Any legal encumbrance? Is it a subject of legal litigation?
No litigation.
If you wish to submit a report. Sorry, the petition, not the report, sorry. The petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petition to report back within 4 weeks. Any other petition? The Senate leader. Point of order, what order?
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Enyin Baribe. I represent Abia South. I'm coming under Order 52-6. I read.
You may proceed.
It shall be out of order to attempt to reconsider any specific question upon which the Senate has come to a conclusion during the current session, except on a substantive motion for rescission. So, Mr. President, yesterday the Senate came to a conclusion on a motion that I brought, and so I'm back here with a substantive motion on rescission. I so move.
You are pleading that the Senate should rescind. So there was a motion yesterday, and the motion was not accepted, so he has now come to rescind that. So is it the wish of the Senate that we should take his prayers? Those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion on rescission per Order 52-6. A motion to immortalize Professor Humphrey Nwosu. And this motion is supported by all senators from the Southeast, plus Senator Abamoro, Senator Ned Nwoko, Senator Adamu Aliero, and others. The Senate knows that the late Humphrey Nwosu was the former National Electoral Commission Chairman, NEC, from 1989 to 1999. Notes further that Professor Humphrey Nwosu supervised the 1993 presidential elections. Aware that his courageous defense of democratic electoral process during the 1993 presidential elections led to the famous June 12, which ultimately confirmed Alhaji MKO Abiola as the winner of the election. Further aware that he stood his ground, ensuring that the Nigerians' electoral wishes and aspirations were realized, which culminated in June 12 being marked as the authentic democracy day, due to his unwavering stand as an umpire. Note that Professor Humphrey Nwosu laid a landmark foundation for the present Independent National Electoral Commission today, and that Professor Humphrey Nwosu passed away on the 20th of October, 2024, aged 83 years old. Aware that despite his contributions, Professor Humphrey Nwosu was seemingly neglected until his death, which highlights complaints of unfair treatment of notable public servants. Accordingly, 1, resolve that the federal government to immortalize him by naming the present INEC headquarters after him. 2, further urge the government to posthumously honor him with national honor. And 3, extend condolences to the family and recognize their sacrifice in supporting his work towards a better Nigeria. May I add, Mr. President, that Humphrey Nwosu will be buried tomorrow in his hometown in Ajali in Anambra State. I so move, Mr. President.
Vito, do you want to second the motion? Okay, go ahead. Senator, Distinguished Senator Victor Ome, you may wish to second the motion. Sorry, Senator, you forgot, you added Senator Ifeanyi, who is now late.
I was to correct.
Spokesperson.
I was to correct those things, distinguished President.
All Southeast senators until another election is held.
Yeah. Yes.
So, Mr. President, I withdraw the name of Senator Ifeanyi Uba, while also adding that, and then while adding a sponsor, Senator Yahaya Abdullahi, who is another victim of June 12. And I want to add, finally, Mr. President, before the support, that we do a mini silence for him since he's going to be buried tomorrow. So
it's now part of the prayers, right? So, second the motion.
Yes.
Distinguished Senator, the name of Ifeanyi is hereby deleted. Struck out.
And Darlington Wokocha.
And Darlington Nwosu. Thank you very much, Senator Vito Ome. That's another error.
Darlington Wokocha. Then add Senator Antoniani. Whoever did this, will have to warn the person. Thank you, Mr. President. My name
let me be fair. We have added Abdullahi.
Senator Yahya
So
Abdullahi.
it's a progressive.
And Akobondo is not there.
I think his name was inexplicably omitted.
So complete.
That is noted as well.
Complete the co-sponsors, please.
Vito, you are done. Senator Vito. Okay.
We are trying to rectify.
Right on.
Sponsors, yeah.
All mistakes is hereby corrected.
Corrected. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ume, OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. I rise to second this motion moved on our behalf by Senator Enyinia Baribe. And on seconding it, I would like to make some contributions to the motion. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this motion is a very crucial motion. I'm happy that you've granted that it should be taken today. The reason is very simple. When a man lives in this world and makes an impact, when he departs, his departure should be marked. And his life and essence will need to be captured in bidding him farewell. Professor Humphrey Nwosu wasn't just an ordinary person in Nigeria. As the motion encapsulated, he was the chairman of National Electoral Commission for 5 years under the military regime of President Baramasi Ibrahim Babangida. He midwifed return of Nigeria to democracy through that period. And when he was appointed, he started with putting in place democratic structures with the promise made by Babangida that he will exit by August 1993. He set out to conduct all the elections, House of Assembly, governorship, National Assembly elections, successfully using his designed option A4, which made it possible for people to line behind the candidate of their choice. And those elections he conducted before this June 12th were celebrated across Nigeria. There were no litigations after declaration of almost all the results. So the country enjoyed his stewardship. Then came the big one, the presidential election. He prepared for this presidential election, and the date was fixed for June 12, this famous June 12, 1993. That would have been the final bus stop of his service to this nation if he conducted the presidential election and returned the winner. He was on it until the 11th of June. He was summoned by the then military government and asked to halt the conduct of the election the next day. Mr. President, if you recall, even in this republic, many elections have been postponed. He was asked to postpone the election or to stop it. He said no, that the enabling law said that no court shall have jurisdiction to stop the Electoral Commission from conducting a scheduled election. This was the stand he took before the military council. And they told him he should stop. He said no. The next day, 12 June, he conducted this election that is now called the famous June 12 election. He concluded the exercise, started announcing the results, remaining Taraba State. They went in and stopped him from concluding the declaration of the results. That's how the impasse began. Every attempt to make him to bow.
You have 2 seconds remaining.
Every attempt to stop him from concluding the exercise, he rebuffed all of it, despite military threats. He had to get the Director of Legal Services of the Commission to file an action in court for an order of mandamus to compel INEC to declare the result. I'm coming to get to the final point now. And when they disagreed, they went to the Court of Appeal in Kaduna, seeking for that order. The Court of Appeal scheduled 25th of June for ruling. On 23rd of June, because the military was afraid that the Court of Appeal was poised to grant that order, looking at the results of the election, which he had already tendered in court, showing that Abiola won the election. It was at that point that the military dissolved the National Electoral Commission on the 23rd, 2 days to the ruling, and he was whisked away. That was when he was sacked.
Thank you very much. So to Adam Oshomole.
Contribution.
Thank you. Because of others want to speak.
Please let me land. There is something I want to correct. I want to correct something. Having done that, Nigeria has gone on, and the struggle to revalidate that June 12 presidential election took a huge toll on Nigeria, including loss of lives. But now we have come back as a country to acknowledge that that election was the freest and ever conducted. And the president, Moshood Abiola, who was never returned, has been recognized as the winner of the election by the government of Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Decorated with the highest honor, GCFR. Whereas the man who conducted the election has been left.
Your time is over. Senator others want to speak. Senator Adam, you have the floor. Adam.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mailo, I have the floor now. Thank you very much. Mr. President, sir. Each day I leave my house to come to these chambers, I ask God to guide my thoughts, to give me the will to speak the truth, and to service my conscience. I have listened and I've read through this 2-page motion moved by a man I respect and I will always respect. But when it comes to facts, the written word, it will go into history. I want to be on record as saying the following. Paragraph 3 of this document, this motion, which says, quote, conscious of his courageous defense of the democratic electoral process during the 1993 presidential election that led to the famous June 12 slogan, which ultimately confirmed MKO Abiola as the winner of the election. This is manipulating and wrestling with the truth. June 12 became famous because Nigerians who voted and the elections results already announced, people were at liberty to do their calculation. But because the chief electoral officer failed to formally announce the figures and declare the winner, the Nigerian people on their own talk about, if you look at the media review, the man who is widely believed to have won the election, because the man who should have announced it failed to do so. The second paragraph, or the fourth paragraph, informed that he stood his ground during Nigeria electoral wishes and aspirations were realized, which culminated the June 12 being marked as a 30 Democratic Day due to his unwavering stand as an umpire. Sir, again, this is not correct. President Muhammadu Buhari, to his credit, decided, and may God bless him for that, said what Nigerians already knew, but coming from a city head of state and president, that gave it the currency. He said everybody knew that MKO Abiola won June, election that was conducted on June 12th. Nigerians were really in pain because nobody is able to quote where Professor Nwosu announced the results. It is his failure to announce the result, whether under threat or other whatever forces that prevented him from so doing, that Nigerians were unable to say that he was declared the winner. In fact, I was active in that struggle. When we met with the late General Sani Abacha, he said the reason he decided to order the detention of MKO Abiola was that MKO Abiola proclaimed himself as the winner of the election and therefore as president. It was on that basis Abiola was arrested and he died in detention. If Professor Nwosu had the courage, I emphasize courage as is being suggested here, to announce the winner and damn the consequences. After all, he who is not ready to die for something will end up dying for nothing. We cannot distort history in this Senate. We must be seen to have sentiments that reflect the average feeling of the average Nigerian. Professor Nwosu, when it mattered most, his courage failed him. And when you give national honors and recognition, you do so for people who have shown courage, who have paid the supreme price, or who were ready to pay that price. Lastly, cognizance of the fact that Professor Nwosu laid a landmark foundation, blah, 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 blah. This is the reason it is even more painful that you allegedly have all this courage to conduct elections. I'm on record as saying that Professor Nwosu and President Babangida fooled 18 million Nigerians that voted. Nwosu is not on record before his death as admitting that before I die, let me confess that there was a winner.
You have 1 second. You have 2 seconds remaining.
Therefore, let me round up, Mr. President. I thank you for this because this is very important. If you couldn't, this is my last point, sir. I appreciate. This is my last point. So I want my in-laws to understand. If he was afraid of the gun, because we are under dictatorship, some people might say, well, but there were Nigerians who were protesting under the gun without minding the consequences. After the end of Babangida's tenure, the death of Abiola, the birth of the new democracy that produced President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Obasanjo. Since then, I would have expected Nwosu to say, either on his birthday or on any special occasion, now that we are back to democracy, there is freedom of speech, even the freedom to lie. I would have expected Nwosu to be able to say, I could not declare these numbers.
Thank you.
Now, on my record, Abiola won this election.
Thank you. Senator Osita, you have the floor.
He died without confession.
Thank you.
He died without confession. Cannot be rewarded.
Thank you, Senator Osita.
He cannot be rewarded.
Senator Osita Ungu, you have the floor.
SP.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You all speak. No, everybody will speak, and then we put the question.
Mr. President, my name is Osita Ungu. I represent Enugu.
And please, two minutes, so that others will speak. Two minutes.
Mr. President, I'll be faster. I want to actually remind us that whether we speak for or against, Humphrey Nwosu will be buried tomorrow. I also want to remind us that just recently, the former president, Ibrahim Babangida, held an event lately, which everybody, even several people here attended, including the current president of the country. And everybody came up because he's alive to speak good of him. If Humphrey Nwosu was doing a colloquium today, Nigerians will still go the same way they lined up to speak good of IBB. And I also want to remind us that Humphrey Nwosu was the chairman during a military regime. There was no way he would have announced a result with a gun placed on his head. Mr. President, even anybody who wants to be Anthony, who wants to say I'm going to refer to Julius Caesar, friends, Roman countrymen have come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, which is what Senator Ashimole can take up. You can just bury the dead if you don't want to praise him, and allow those who want to praise him to praise him. No matter how much we speak here today, it will not remove the fact that some of us see Humphrey Nwosu as a hero and needs to be immortalized. Mr. President, for the respect of the dead and for those who are mourning, who will bury this man tomorrow, I want to move, Mr. President, that we don't further debate this matter. We go to the question, so that we don't continue to open up several things. I so move. Thank you.
Any seconder? All are you seconding? Are you seconding? No seconder. Senator, it will die. Eh? You want a second?
Yes.
Okay, second.
Your Excellency, Mr. Senate President, I listened to my leader, and I'm of the opinion that we should probably leave historians to write about Humphrey Nwosu. I don't want to express my own personal opinion, but I know that continuing with this debate will open up a lot of wounds. And it has the tendency of dividing the Senate along unusual lines. I will therefore say that the prayers are there. We can straight away go into the prayer. And it is very necessary for us to save time. We are very close to 1 o'clock now, and today is the closing day. And on the other paper, we have a lot of items to discuss. I will therefore seek your indulgence to stop the debate and allow us to move on.
Please, those in favor of the motion moved by Senator Osita Ungu and seconded by the Deputy Majority Leader, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Senator Jim Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My name is Senator Jim Ibrahim, representing the good people of Ondo South in Ondo State. And I bring good greetings to my colleagues. My contribution will be just 2 minutes, which is what you allowed, Mr. Senate President. And I won't go beyond that. The motion brought by the doyen of the Senate, I can say, Senator Abarebe, is fantastic. But there are converging complexities. which have been detailed. Particulars of those converging complexity were detailed by Senator Oshimale. We cannot operate within the rivers of complexities. Democracy, as beauty as it is, have its own vulnerabilities. And it is vulnerability of democracy that is before us this morning. That the person away professor, learned professor, couldn't even have the courage to announce the result of that election. But like I said, I won't go to those narratives. But what I want to say, Mr. President, is that what do we say of Professor Jiga, who conducted an election from the main political party and changed to the opposition, which made President Tinubu to win the election, and President Jonathan leaving office. Jega had the courage to say to Jonathan, you are not the winner of the election. So the winner of the election is President Bola Ahmed. President Buhari was the winner of the election. And that was changing political parties. Just a minute. Please, order. Yes.
Order, please.
Jega said that President Buhari won the election from another party. So it was shift between PDP running government against an APC. And he had the courage to come out and do that. And he didn't die. Nothing happened. And we didn't name anything after him. We couldn't even make him a minister. Beyond that, it's not even in the Senate. I don't even know whether he got any national honor. Myself, I hold the national honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, CFR, which is next to the Senate President's own of GCON. So I don't know what we are talking about. I wish Professor Nwosu a journey mercy to the external world, where he will rest in perfect peace. But this Senate should quickly run away from resolving converging complexities within the historical context of the Nigeria as a nation. Finally, Mr. Senate President, I urge you, because history will be here today, and you are the one presiding. And Nigeria will ask you, is it true within your conscience that we should be naming a whole INEC, not even national honor post-mortem? We should read the whole INEC after one of his chairman who annoyed the election of June 12, who couldn't even come up with a result until President Babangida came out to say Abiola won the election and he regretted his action. Professor Nwosu couldn't even make
Buhari, not Babangida, Buhari.
No, okay. Babangida came.
Okay,
Buhari, I don't really believe in Buhari's sentimental statement. They were just bare narrative. Buhari was even courageous enough to say this is the result and publish it. So I don't believe in Buhari. I believe in the apology tender by Babangida that yes, Abiola won the election.
Yes, Buhari said it, Babangida also said it.
Yes, but Buhari said it better. Babangida said it better than Buhari. Mr. Senate President, I want to say before I take my seat that I don't
have 1 second remaining. One second.
Yes, I don't like anybody in the Senate, with due respect, to put words into my mouth, because I'm somebody who doesn't believe in Buhari. So whatever Buhari does is completely not believed by me. So finally, I want to say and advise the Senate that the converging complexity cannot be resolved in one sitting of the Senate. Nothing, absolutely nothing, should be named after anybody, not even INEC as an institution. I so rest my case. Thank you very much.
Senator Patrick Ndubezi from Imo State.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Engineer Patrick C. Ndubezi. I represent the good people of Imo North. Mr. President and my fellow colleagues, to a very good extent, I'm involved to know what happened and have the history. And I will tell you, but for those who, no, don't go to being young. Maybe I'm elder to some people on this issue. For those who are saying he didn't announce the result, he was under military dictatorship. I'm coming. Now, when you are given a signal not to announce results, not to release the results, and he quickly released all the results within his reach immediately. That one. And because of that, they foresaw his courage going ahead to announce the result and sent to whisk him off. Now, where do you expect him to announce the result? Is it when he is already in the hands of the military? Was there any television there or radio station where he would take to announce the results? 2, somebody has acknowledged that he annulled the June 12th election. How else do you want? Again, if not that he released such results, how would you have known that that Abiola won the election? Another side of it, who asked Abiola to come and take over and hand over to him? Again, the vice presidential candidate left the mandate to go and accept ministerial appointment under the military. But he was recognized. Last year we were there in a colloquium and he was recognized. I want to say, it is good that we put primordial sentiments apart. Recognize, look, Humphrey Nwosu gave us the best method of conducting election in this country. That if we follow suit, we will not have issues. Humphrey Nwosu is a master in electoral issues. I cannot see the reason that someone will wake up to say, oh, he annulled result. How? The person who annulled the result has accepted and apologized. And we accept the apology of this, our general, our former president. Why are we going back to heap it on a person? Assent, somebody who should call assent on electoral matters in Nigeria. Somebody who conducted the best election in this country that have been adjudged. No election that have been conducted that can equal what he did. It is, I am saying, please, we should give honor to whom honor is due.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a problem. Karimi Cyril, do we start from here or start from here? Let's start from here. Okay, Senator Cyril,
Yes,
you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, thank you very much, distinguished colleagues, for this special recognition. I want to start on this note. Conscience is an open wound, and only the truth can heal it. Let it be on record. I read the motion from Senator Abaribe, the man I respect so much, landlord, and I also listened vehemently to the sentiments provided by Senator Victor Ume. And I will say this to you, sir. Mr. President, I have attended a lot of courses in the business school and management schools. And I know there's a difference between effort and result. Mr. President, nobody rewards efforts. What people reward is result. Today, Mr. President, I'm being called Senator Cyril Fashui. And this is my 4th time attempting to come to this red chamber. And that is the only time I am being called a senator. We thank God for everything that Professor Humphrey Nwosu did. But there's something lacking. The result was not there. Everything that anybody has said here is about the effort. Sir, we have seen a lot of national infrastructures being named after individuals. I know the one of the police, which is the Kumasi. I know the one of customs, which is for Duke. And I know institutions, Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe. There is nobody who will argue against the naming of these
national infrastructures to these national icons. Mr. President, Professor Humphrey Nwosu only made effort as long as he did not announce the result, whether you are under duress or you are under anything. It cannot be called. It cannot. That election cannot be said that he has conducted a successful election. In view of this, I want to say vehemently that I, Senator Cyril Fashi, representing the good and decent people of Ekiti North, having searched my conscience, I am against the prayer that it should be immortalized by naming INEC headquarters after him. Thank you. I so submit.
Let me say this. Everybody will speak. Everybody will speak. But please, let's allocate just 1.5 minutes so that we can quickly do away with this. I want to be as fair as possible. Sir, you speak. But let me allow Senator Akobundo to speak. You speak later. Akobundo, you have the floor. From Abia State.
Thank you, Mr. President, my dear colleagues. My name is Austin Akobundo, representing Abia Central Senatorial District. Your Excellency, today we are discussing a man, in my opinion, and in the opinions of so many Nigerians, who did so much to bring the current democracy to fruition. I was in service, and I know a whole lot about the doggedness, the courage that Humphrey Nwosu declared up to the point he was stopped from continuing with the results. To stay here and not acknowledge that Humphrey was a fighter who stood his ground against the military leadership to ensure that democracy was enthroned is most uncharitable. Some of the things I would have said have been taken by my colleagues, so I want to join those who believe that Humphrey Nwosu did a great job to enthrone democracy in ensuring that his name is immortalized. And recently, certain actions in the country have thrown up the role he played in positive light. Recently, the former president, Ibrahim Babangida, owned up to his mistakes. If Humphrey Nwosu did not conduct a credible election, how would Abiola's election be validated? So it was a validation. And it's very uncharitable for Senator Shomole to say that while he was alive, he didn't do anything. Let me bring it out that Humphrey Nwosu published a book where he detailed all that happened, including the results that validated Abiola's election. So I join my colleagues, those who agree, to state that Humphrey Nwosu remains a great man in our hearts and that he should be given his rightful place in the Hall of Honor in this country. Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity.
Senator Karim, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, my colleagues. My name is Karimi Sunday Steve. I represent the people of Kogi State. There is this fact. In whatsoever we do, one day we are going to live here, we are going to leave the world, and we are going to be remembered by what we have done. If you do well, posterity will remember you for good. We are now judging or talking about Humphrey Nwosu. He has finished his course. Now it is left for his creator to judge him. Yes, he was here. He did his best. He conducted an election. He tried his best midway. Everything was truncated. And he was not courageous enough to speak out. There are others after him that also work in INEC and did a lot of work there. One thing we cannot take away from Nwosu is that he tried his best. But we need to be careful. It is the responsibility of the executive to name any structure after anybody. It is also the responsibility of the executive to give national awards to whomsoever they feel is deserving of it. And we know our president now, he was a factor and he was part of those that struggled for the actualization of June 12. He worked hard for it. He worked hard for it. President Obasanjo was there as president for 8 years. He did not name anything after Nwosu. Nothing was mentioned about him. Even Yaradua was there. President Goodluck Jonathan was there. After Goodluck Jonathan, Buhari was there for 8 years. And now that Nwosu is gone, you want President of Tinubu to name structures after Nwosu. It will not happen. It will not happen. Tinubu will not do that. So we don't need to force him to do anything like that. So let's just limit ourselves with what we can manage here. We rise up, say a 1 minute silence for him. That is over. That is over. Let's not go beyond what we can control. That is what I will say here. Thank you.
Senator Yahya Abdullahi, please, after contribution, let's just go to the prayers because of time.
Yahya Abdullahi, Kebbi North. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I think we are using too much emotions and not much of the facts of the case. I call myself a victim of June 12th, precisely because I contested for the Secretary Generalship of the SDP in 1993, and we lost the election to Sule Lamido, with the former governor of Jigawa State. After that, we had a lot of trouble selecting the vice presidential candidate. I was in the Kingibe faction, and we were able to defeat Atiku Abubakar to get Abiola to name Kingibe as the vice president in order to have a seamless election. We went through that process, and we knew we won the election. It was annulled. Everybody knew what happened, or what happens under the military. To accuse this late gentleman of not allowing the election, not announcing the election, I think is very, very ahistorical and uncharitable. Mr. President, even under duress, he was not even to have conducted the election in the first place, but he went ahead and conducted it against the military who appointed him. After the election results started coming out, and it was aware that Abiola won the election, Nwosu asked his Director of Legal Services, Malam Buhari Bello, who is still alive, he's my junior brother, to go to court. Buhari went to court, and he won in the court in the Federal High Court. The appeal, he went to the Court of Appeal. Like my statesman from Anambra, Senator Ume, said, they were afraid that the Court of Appeal is going to give INEC a favorable response. The military came and annulled that election and disbanded INEC. And at that time, my junior brother Buhari Bello lost his job also, together with Nwosu. Now, how come with this historical narrative? Some of us are alive. We are participants in that process. There are some people here who are talking who have never been part of the process. And then you are coming out painting certain historical narratives which are wrong. Please, let's honor ourselves and uphold what is right and do the right thing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, Senator Titus has the floor. After Senator Titus, then of course we have Senator Osita, and then Senator Salu, SAS, Afolabi, and then Senator Solomon Lamilekon will round up so that we can just put the vote, please.
Mr. President.
You want to speak? Okay.
Distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Dr. Titus Tat-Tengizam. I represent Benue Northwest Senatorial District. Mr. President, as you can see, this issue has generated a lot of interest, not just because of the personality involved. It is because INEC, being a very critical institution in the promotion, advancement of democracy, would naturally attract attention, either for good or bad. I want us to situate our debate in the context of national service and intellectual excellence, which Professor Henry Nwosu is supposed to exemplify. Nwosu was a professor of political science, someone who by training was supposed to deliver excellent election to Nigeria. Humphrey Nwosu was also appointed for national service. From these two backgrounds, he did not achieve any of them. They say to whom much is given, much is expected. A professor of political science heading INEC could not deliver result. That is how you can assess him. It doesn't matter whether the circumstances were positive or not. If it were not positive for him to do so, he would have resigned. He didn't resign, which means he stood out to do the job. So on that score, he did not succeed. Now, national service. When you are called to serve the country, what you are supposed to do is to go to every extent to defend and deliver your mandate. As far as we are concerned, this gentleman did not conduct himself properly enough to deserve any national recognition at this moment. He did not deliver.
Thank you. My colleagues, you see, we have a lot on our other paper, but I will not deny you the right to speak. People want to speak, you want to speak, but please try to summarize what you are going to say. And we'll allow you one minute, please. Just 1 minute, so that we can get over this and then move forward. Senator Onyewuchi.
No, you cannot.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. I had called him already.
Yes,
sorry.
Mr. Senate President.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure is when it's my turn that you are not saying people should speak for 1 minute. And even you also forgot that you have called me. Something must be wrong.
Show your name. It's an oversight.
Yeah, Mr. President, my name is Osita Izunaso. I represent Imo West. I just want to draw the attention of the Secretariat to the fact that I'm one of the sponsors of this motion, and they wrote Imo North for me. It should be Imo West, not Imo North.
Secretariat, please take note.
Now, Mr.
The sponsor, that stands corrected.
Mr. President, it is important that we do not sit here to distort history. We are legislators, and we are representing the people. Take a census of Nigerians and ask them what they think about Professor Humphrey Nwosu. They will tell you he was a hero. So for us to sit here now and begin to distort history It's not fair for our democracy. It's not even good for the country. Mr. President, I want to draw your attention to what happened on June 10. We're talking about June 12. Justice Ibeme, as early as 9:30 on June 10th, said there will be no election. And Professor Humphrey Nwosu tried to reach the head of state. He couldn't reach him. He couldn't reach the Attorney General. And there was an emergency meeting of National Defense and Security Council, which Professor Humphrey Nwosu audaciously attended uninvited and told them that the materials have been sent out and that he was ready for the election. Uninvited in the military council, he went there. That is courage of the highest order. And it was after he spoke that President Ibrahim Babangida have no choice than to ask him to conduct the election. Mr. President, we have human beings who are alive. Today, Mr. Boss Mustafa, the immediate past SDF, and late Mohamed Waziri, we are the SDP returning agents at the collection center. Yesterday, when this matter broke up, I had to call Boss Mustafa. I had to call him. I said, Boss Mustafa, what happened at the collection center? And he narrated to me how courageous Humphrey Nwosu was. And said, without Humphrey Nwosu's courage, you can't even talk about election. In fact, Buhari Bello, who was INEC legal director, was the one that was running in between Humphrey Nwosu and the NDSC. And Buhari Bello is still alive. He will testify to you how courageous Humphrey Nwosu was in that exercise. Mr. President, Senator.
Thank you. You have 1 second remaining. I give you more time.
No, yes, please.
Your protest because you protested.
Yes,
so,
please.
So, but your time is off. 1 second.
No, Adam Oshimole wanted to distort history. I won't let him do that. Humphrey Nwosu, in his book titled "Laying the Foundation for Nigerian Democracy," laying the foundation for Nigerian democracy. My account of June 12th.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is off.
Entire result.
Also, Shoaib Afolabi. I'm just trying to be fair.
I have the floor.
When someone here speaks, another person having divergent view should speak. That's it's a balanced thing.
I have the floor, please. I have the floor, please.
Go ahead. Go.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a few months ago, this hallowed chamber celebrated the late Dr. Ogbonaya Onu. It was unanimous. On that occasion, I stood up and I spoke not just as a senator, I spoke as the secretary of Southwest Senators Caucus. And in fact, we regarded Ogbonaya Onu as somebody from Southwest. There was no controversy. There will be other eminent Nigerians that were brought here. We celebrated them in less than 5 minutes. There was no controversy. Today, I speak as the senator representing the memory of M.K. Abiola. And that we're even discussing this brings back the pain of the loss of an illustrious Nigerian from Ogun Central Senatorial District. To attempt to immortalize or honor anyone who was involved with the annulment of June 12th that led to the death of M.K. Abiola is to undermine the insufficient recognition that will be given to him. It is indeed to also set a very bad precedent and to also make it very clear. If Humphrey Nwosu were to come from Ogun Central, if indeed it was to come from Abeokuta, anyone who participated in the June 12th debacle, regardless of the part of the country, including Abeokuta, I will stand up to speak against such a person. And you also know that even people from Southwest who were accomplices in the June 12th saga, they have not been forgiven tomorrow. If any of them was brought here, I will speak against him. Therefore, this debate is unnecessary. This debate is trying to rewrite history, and we are sending to the people, to the younger people, that you can be celebrated if your courage failed you. You can be celebrated if you do common things uncommonly bad. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, The very best you can do, maybe just 1 minute honor, but to attempt to do anything further would be to rubbish the memory of MK Abiola and to add insult to the injury.
Thank you. Senator Orwell Oyosi.
Thank you, Mr. President, for finally giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm very grateful. See, we are seated here today, we are talking about a great historical event. One thing we must not allow to come in is sentiment. I'm not from the southeast, I'm not from the southwest, I'm a Nigerian. Humphrey Nwosu was a Nigerian. And at the time he worked, Nigeria was a very complex society, managed by very reckless, very ambitious, very dangerous military leaders. We knew all of them. They shot so many of their mates for no reason. And I'm sure shooting a civilian would be an ordinary event. We knew what happened at that point in time. I am not after getting him named, anything named against his name, or giving him a national honor. That is left for the government of the day. But that history must not be distorted. We have kids here, okay, they are gone, and they are listening, and they take this away. This is one of the highest, the most respected institutions in Nigeria. And so when we want to put facts, we put facts down for others to use. Humphrey Nwosu, to the best of my knowledge and from the functions it performed, is a hero. Now, he established what we are mimicking today, the very INEC we are trying to fine-tune. He laid the foundation.
No, he did NEC. NEC, not INEC. NEC.
They are the same thing. It's a change of name. Change of name. Please, I didn't talk, Professor of War, I listen to you. You listen to me. Now, listen to me, and you will listen to me. You will listen to me. Now,
order.
See the time. I will take my time.
Order, please. It was a mistake, and we get that corrected for him. It was NEC, not INEC. It's just a mere correction. Yes. So, and it's human. Always, continue.
Yes.
But you have 1 second. You have.
So, sorry, I'll appeal for 2 more seconds because of the disturbance.
No, you have 1 second.
There were elections conducted at that period, not just presidential election. They were successful. Don't forget, he conducted local government elections. They were successful. State elections, House of Assembly, reps, and Senate, they were all successful. Governorship. When it was time for presidential election, we knew the interplay of forces. And
you have 1 second remaining, 1 second.
Well, I want to say that we should be honest and we should be fair to people. Humphrey Nwosu is a hero. Nobody could have done better than he did at the point he performed. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Now, you need, please, you need to be patient because time is running fast. This is one. We'll just have to allow maybe 2-3 people to speak because the time is far against us. No, you speak. You're going to speak. Senator Father Humphrey. We'll come here.
Nobody should cry. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Adefada Humphrey, Osun East. Generally, most of all the people that are talking about Nwosu, most of them did not know much, as at that time they were very young. Some were still in the university. Now they are here. The elder says, don't judge the dead. Leave him for his creator. Nwosu was a bloody civilian during Babangida's time. Colonel Akobu, we were in uniform there. My problem is that when it comes to civilian, we want to applaud our people. we have a lot of problems. Right here, one of the generals, and so many, we have celebrated them, that truncated this democracy. Nwosu has done his best. He has gone. The naming of this and that in his name depends on the executive. You can recommend. If the president wants, he will give him. If the president wants national honor, you can give him the best. Because at that time,
Thank you, Father Jose.
we don't want all these things to
Thank you.
to
Now,
drag
please,
us and
we
waste
have
time.
to, because the deputy leader has come here to advise me that time is against us. So I allow Senator Nwosu to speak, and then Senator Olamide will round up. I'm sorry, we can't take it anymore. Please, I'm sorry.
Thank you, my president, our dear distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Tony Nwosu, representing Anambra North. Mr. President, the issue at stake is an appeal I'm making that we should not allow our personal biases, our personal sentiments, and our party affiliations to influence what we are doing here. So far I'm concerned, during the June 12 presidential election, I was a presiding officer. And yes, I just came out from secondary school. I was the presiding officer in that election. That election has been adjudged up to today the freest and fairest election in the history of Nigeria. Mr. President, any Nigerian that googles internet, which election is the freest and fairest election in Nigeria, is the June 12th presidential election. Professor Humphrey Nwosu, a professor of political science from the prestigious University of Nigeria, a civil servant, before he was appointed in 1989, did his best, despite the pressure from Babangida government, despite the court order, Mr. President, allow me, despite the court order by Justice Ibeme that stopped the election, despite all the threats from the military cabal, the man still went ahead to conduct the freest and fairest election. Was it Professor Humphrey Nwosu that made Justice Saleh from Katangum Emirate from Bauchi to annul the election? Was it Justice Professor Humphrey Nwosu that made the military cabal to throw Nigeria into confusion? It is highly unfair. One of my colleagues mentioned about the honor.
How was it remaining my brother?
Is it because he belongs to a particular political party? Let us not distort facts. It's very disappointing that some of us should be distorting facts just because Professor Humphrey Nwosu is an Igbo man.
Thank you very much.
Allow this motion to
stand. Thank you, sir.
I rest my case.
Thank you. Please, order, please.
Hello, sir.
Now, 99.9% of those who want to speak have spoken. I will allow Senator Samson, Senator Ezenwa, then last.
Hello, sir.
The list, Senator Solomon Olamide.
Thank you very much.
Have a minute.
Thank you very much, Mr. President of the Senate, for allowing me this intervention, as it were. I think we are getting the context of this motion disjointed somewhat. I think the central issue here is not whether we name the voters of INEC in memory of Nwosu. The critical issue here is the honor that Nigeria owes this great man. And one of those who is, I'm very passionate about June 12th, very passionate, because I believe that has been one fabric that has challenged our sensibilities as a country. So the central issue here is not naming of the edifice. The central issue here is the honor, because if Nwosu is not celebrated, who must we celebrate? Is it Otonzeribe or the judge who gave that judgment? I am of the opinion that outside whatever might be named after him, which of course is outside our past, as it were, we can at best recommend. But the central issue is that this man showed courage when that was necessary. He had all the opportunity.
You have 1 second. Your time is off. So those are right. Have the floor. Then Senator Solomon.
So I think we can.
Your time is off. Your time is off.
Naming that edifice after.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ezenwa Onyewuchi, and I represent Imo East Senatorial District of Imo State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am indeed very worried that the achievements of Professor Humphrey Nwosu is being subjected to such fierce debate. There's no doubt, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, that Professor Humphrey Nwosu is an architect of the freedom we enjoy today as a nation. Humphrey Nwosu
he has the floor. Allow him to say his mind.
No doubt is
you are
the
protected
hero of the June 12th election. And there's no doubt that he introduced something that was very novel to us, the option A4, and conducted an election, adjourned the freest election that we
have 1 second remaining. 1 second.
Had. Mr. President, I want to warn or advise that this Senate should not resort to scapegoatism, to say, this is the person that caused this is the person that did not do this. Let us look at things objectively.
Thank you, Senator Solomon. You have the floor.
He played
the time is over.
And I want to say, he was not just...
How many minutes, sir?
So,
University
you have the floor.
At the University of Nigeria. Let me round up, Mr. President.
The time is off.
Because I don't want us to pin Professor Nwosu to just the INEC job he did. He was an erudite professor.
Thank you. The time is off, Senator Solomon Elamulekon, you have the floor. Pro June 12.
Thank you very much, Mr. Representing Ogun West Senatorial District. Mr. President, this is one issue that...
Look, let me say this for him. You say, where were you? His junior brother died. His junior brother was killed during the June 12 saga.
Sir, let me make my submission that I can tell you where I was when it happened.
He's protected. Allow him to speak. He's protected.
He's from NRC. That's why he's speaking like that. Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, this is one issue I have tried as much as possible to avoid. Yesterday, when my brother, Senator Abaribe, brought this matter up, I took up and said, no, I will not allow this to happen. Because he's about to remind me a very sad memory. And I'm speaking not along party line or ethnic or whatsoever, as I've watched and listened to the contribution thus far. Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, as a result of the action and inaction of Professor Humphrey Nwosu, I lost my immediate junior brother. He died right behind me for him refusing to do or carry out his duty as INEC chairman. Mr. President, many of my colleagues have stood up here and said he conducted the free and fairest election. There are three different meanings and three different interpretations that we should look at: conducting election, releasing results, and announcing results. Yes, he conducted the election. Yes, school of thought said he releases all the results. But you and I know releasing results is not the same thing as announcing results. He failed at the critical moment when he's supposed to salvage this democracy. Today we celebrate Abiola or those people who have contributed to the success story of June 12 because they laid their life, they put their life on the line. If he is coward to withdraw in doing what is right at the critical moment, I think my brothers here should be fair enough. We are not saying you should not bring his matter out. And as my colleague have said, everybody that we have put before us that should be honored, we have celebrated them here. And don't forget, this is the highest law-making body of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
where we should see ourselves as one and one Nigeria. Professor Humphrey Nwosu, with due respect to him, because it's now late, does not deserve to be immortalized as one of the very few Nigerians that have done the right thing. And I want to plead with my colleague. As I've said, I'm not speaking along the ethnicity line, along the party line, but I'm speaking as Nigeria. We witnessed the horrific bombing.
Thank you. One second remaining.
Of Professor Humphrey Nwosu to carry out his assignment at the most critical hour.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now let's go to prayers. Prayer 1. All the federal government to immortalize him by naming the INEC headquarters in Abuja after him. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. Nay. The nays have it. Further urges the federal government to posthumously honor him with national honors. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Nay. The nays have it. Extend condolences to his family and recognize their sacrifice in support of his work towards a better Nigeria. Those in favor of this prayer, say aye. Those against say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. So, hello, sorry. Order! Order! Please, can somebody order? Can somebody move a motion so that we can have a big silence in his honor and pray for you for his soul to reign in perfect peace? Senator Siri Oluwole Fasui.
Seconded.
A seconder.
Seconded.
Senator Samson Ekong.
My name is Ekong Samson. I represent Akwa Ibom South. I move to support the motion as ably moved that in view of his place in history, that this August Senate do observe a brief silence in memory of Professor Humphrey Nwosu. I so move most respectfully. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion, moved by Senator Cyril Oluwole Fasui from Ekiti State, and seconded by Senator Samson Ekong from Akwa Ibom State. Please say aye. Those against say nay. No. The ayes have it. 1 minute silence, please.
May the soul of Professor Humphrey Nwosu rest in perfect peace.
Amen. End of motion.
The Senate leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of a House bill standing in the name of Senate
leader. Please let me commend distinguished senators for the maturity and experience that you displayed during this debate. You did very well. You marshal out your points, you say your views, and no rancor at all. And this is how debate should be in an august institution like the Senate. As a presiding officer, I have my view, but I try to be, not to be partial. I believe in June 12. I was part and parcel of June 12. I suffered all what others suffered during the June 12 saga. Order. When Abiola came to Kano, he rode in my car. And we're not all happy with what happened in the June 12 problem. But it has happened. And you did very well by stating your points. And the debate went ahead, was conducted in the most conducive atmosphere possible. So please continue to exhibit this kind of maturity in issues that may become controversial or have different, or people having different views. Through robust debate like this is how we can come together to help to build our nation. So thank you very much.
Adjournment.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of House Bill, standing in my name and the name of Senate Leader of Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM, Bende, Establishment Bill 2025, HB 25. Mr. President, Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM Bende Establishment Bill 2025, HB 25, first reading.
Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM Bende Establishment Bill 2025, HR 25, first reading taken. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the second business of the day is presentation of a House bill standing in the name of Leader of the Senate on Federal College of Education, Bende Establishment Bill 2025, HB 125. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
The Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal College of Education Bende Establishment Bill 2025, HB 125, first reading.
Federal College of Education Bende Establishment Bill 2025, HB 125, first reading taken. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the third business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Adaramodu Adeyemi Raphael on National Youth Council of Nigeria Bill 2025, SB 761. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
The Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Youth Council of Nigeria Bill 2025, SB 761, first reading.
National Youth Council of Nigeria Bill 2025, SB 761, first reading taken. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Nwosu Ned Munir on the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 767.
Clerk of the Senate.
President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Agricultural Research Council of Nigerian Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 767, first reading.
Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 767, first reading taken. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fifth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Simon Bakola Long on Federal Universities of Agriculture. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 768, first reading.
Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 768, first reading taken. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the sixth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Lisa Ashiru Yelola on Federal University of History and Archaeology. Sir? Archaeology, Kwara State. Establishment Bill 2025, SB 769. Mr.
Clerk of the
President,
Senate.
you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of History and Archaeology, ISE, Kwara State Establishment Bill 2025, SB 769, first reading.
Federal University of History and Archaeology, SCA, Kwara State Establishment Bill 2025, SB 769, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the first order of the day is the motion standing my name on the amendment of standing orders of the Senate pursuant to Order 109 of Senate Standing Order 2023 as amended. Mr. President, with your permission, I wish to move the motion.
Minority Leader. No. You can continue. Just move the motion.
Page 3? No, 2? Eh? Yes. Page 3. The brief. Is here now? Is it not page 1? Amendment of Standing Order of Senate pursuant to Order 109 of Senate Standing Order 2023 as amended. Sponsor, Bamidele Michael Okweyemi, the Senate Leader. The Senate knows that the Senate Standing Order was amended in 2023 to accommodate issues that will make the orders dynamic to facilitate effective legislative process.
Leader. Sorry, he has to step it down because we need two-thirds majority to amend our rules. And we certainly don't have it.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, observing the present situation in the Senate and standing on Order 109 sub 5, I wish to step down the motion till another day.
We're stepping down this motion because we need 2/3 majority to amend our rules. And as you can see, we don't have that number here. So, Manuel may second the motion.
President, I second the motion as moved. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the leader and second by minority leader, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the second order of the day is second reading of Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 701. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 12 February 2025. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Saliu Mustafa to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Saliu Mustafa. Please, you may wish to summarize the...
Okay, sir. Your Excellency, the President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Saliu Mustafa, representing Kwara Central. Mr. President, distinguished senators, permit me to lead the debate on this all-important bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 701. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Wednesday, the 12th of February, 2025. Mr. President,
you need a second
colleagues.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Electoral Act number 13 was enacted in 2022 to repeal the Electoral Act number 6 of 2010.
Senator Mustafa, just move a proper motion that you stand to move for the second reading of this bill.
Okay. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to move that the lead debate on the bill to amend the Electoral Act, Bill number 2025 SB 701, be taken.
You can go ahead.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Electoral Act number 13 was enacted in 2022 to repeal the Electoral Act number 6 of 2010, and to regulate the conduct of federal, state, and area councils in the Federal Capital Territory elections and for related matters. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the proposed bill aims to amend the Electoral Act 2022, which was a major improvement over the repealed Electoral Act of the 2010, but which has some significant gaps due to some oversights necessitating the amendment. It is worthy of noting that the 2022 Electoral Act, despite the improvement, hasn't significantly reduced the financial burden of elections on the federal government of Nigeria. The proposed amendment aims to create a more efficient and cost-effective electoral process that will enhance greater participation of citizens. The inadequacies of the extant Electoral Act 2022 have also resulted in the exclusion of elected office holders, which include the President, Vice President, members of the National Assembly, governors and their deputies, members of the State House of Assembly, chairmen of local government, councillors, members of the National Working Committee of Political Parties, among others, from participating in the convention, congress, or meeting of their political parties they belong to. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the objectives of this bill is as straightforward. 1, to reduce the overall cost of elections in Nigeria. 2, to reduce the campaign period. 3,
allow elected office holders to participate as ad hoc delegates. 4, provide the timing of elections, declaration, and swearing in of elected candidates. 5, address other related issues to enhance citizen participation in elections, among others. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the proposed bill, when passed into law, aims to reduce the cost of election in Nigeria, which has been on a steady rise since 1998. The cost of the general election increased from 1.5 billion to 350 billion in 2023. This exceptional increase is unsustainable and undermines the democratic process. The bill proposed holding election on the same day and date to enable the government to minimize the cost associated with prolonged campaign periods and staggered elections. Same-day election will also increase voters' turnout and promote greater citizen engagement in the electoral process. It will reduce the cost of elections and promote a more efficient electoral process, which will strengthen our democratic institutions and promote an inclusive and preparatory democracy that will reduce logical challenges. The bill further proposed to reduce the campaign period. This approach is expected to lessen the financial burden on the political parties, candidates, and government. This will also help to minimize the impact of campaign activities on governance. By adopting this strategy, Nigeria can align itself with best global practice and promote a more efficient and cost-effective electoral process. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the ultimate aim is to address the inefficiencies of staggered election, which are not only costly but also ineffective. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the bill will also allow for the participation of elected office holders as ad hoc delegates to participate in the conventions, congresses, and meetings of their respective political parties. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, like I earlier enumerated, the key benefits of these proposed bills are there to be seen, which is reduced financial burden, improved citizen participation, improved efficiency, enhanced democracy, decreased economic losses, reduced political tension, amongst others. Conclusion, Mr. President. Yes. Conclusion. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, nations with larger democratic experience, such as the United States, India, and Brazil, have successfully implemented same-day elections, demonstrating its effectiveness in reducing costs and enhancing the electoral process. Adopting this approach in Nigeria can significantly minimize the financial burden on the government, minimize the economic losses associated with staggered elections, and prolong campaign periods, thereby reducing the political tension and uncertainty associated with staggered elections. With same-day election, Nigeria can reduce substantially expenses incurred by Independent National Electoral Commission in conducting the election over multiple days. The proactive step can help save government funds, which can be allocated to other critical infrastructure development projects. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I appeal to my colleagues and this hallowed chamber that this amendment proposed in this bill will enrich and deepen our democracy. I urge you all to support the expeditious passage of this bill into law so that this 10th Senate can prioritize the collective interests of all Nigerians and contribute to a more efficient and cost-effective process. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so move.
Please, is there anybody against this bill? Those in favor that this bill be read the second time, please. You oppose it? Okay.
Mr. President, I have listened attentively, and I think it is important that we are thorough in lawmaking and that in making laws are meant for today and the even unforeseeable future. I think we should debate each of the recommendations. The one that I have problem with, for example, is the idea of conducting all elections the same day. I do not believe that majority of the voters, particularly in the rural areas, and given the terrain in some part of the country, that one person will give in 5 or 6 ballot papers one day to vote, and you will not end up having a mix-up here and there. Nobody has passed other than emphasizing.
Thank you, Senator Shomole. Thank you. Let me remind you that this is the second reading. It will still go to the committee where it will be scrutinized, analyzed, and so on and so forth. And then it will go to public hearing. So please.
But sir, with due respect, we have a right to debate it at the second reading.
No, but we have accepted. You are the only one against it. We have accepted that. We put the votes.
Are you sure I'm the only one?
You are the only one.
I'm
Those in favor that this be read second time, please.
All of you are way. Okay.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to provide for the participation of elected office holders as statutory delegates, provide for schedules of election to hold on same day, and reduce the period of campaign in election, and for other related matters 2025, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to provide for the participation of elected office holders as statutory delegates, provide for the schedule of election to hold on same day and reduce the period of campaign in election, and for other related matters 2025, second reading taken. The bill is referred to the Committee on Electoral Matters to report back within 4 weeks. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is second reading of Nigerian Police University of Science and Technology, Erinja, Ogun State Establishment Bill 2025, SB 750. The single senator will record that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 19 March 2025. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Abdul Hamid Malam Madori Ahmed to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Chairman, Police Affairs Committee, Senator Abdul Hamid Malam Madori, you may wish to move the motion. And please, when you go into the reading of debate, reading your something, the second reading, please try to summarize because of time.
Oh, okay, Mr. President. My name, Mr. President, is Senator Ahmed Abdul Hamid Malam Maduri, representing Jigawa Northeast. Mr. President, I rise to move a motion to lead debate on a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Police Force University of Science and Technology in Erinja, Yewa, Ogun State. I so move. Mr. President, permit me to lead the debate on the proposed bill for the establishment of the Nigerian Police Force University of Science and Technology in Erinja, Yewa, Ogun State. This initiative is pivotal for the advancement of the Nigerian Police Force and the broader national interest, emphasizing the integration of science and technology in modern policing. This bill seeks to establish the Nigerian Police Force University of Science and Technology in Nigeria to provide specialized education, advanced training, and research policing security studies. The establishment of a dedicated university will provide specialized training tailored to the evolving demand of modern law enforcement. This includes coursework in cybersecurity, information technology, data analysis, and other critical areas that enhance the operational capacity of the police. Today, Today's policy landscape is increasingly influenced by technological advancement. A focus on science and technology will equip officers with the necessary skills to combat sophisticated crimes, including cybercrime, terrorism, and organized crime. Research and development. The university will serve as a hub for research in policing methodologies, crime prevention strategies, and community safety, contributing to the development of evidence-based policies and practices within the Nigeria Police Force. Establishing a degree awarding institution reflects a commitment to professionalizing the Nigeria Police Force, fostering career development, and motivating officers through higher education opportunities. The university can collaborate with the existing universities and research centers, promoting interdisciplinary approaches to crime and public safety issues and enhancing knowledge sharing among law enforcement professionals. By introducing a curriculum focused on science and technology, the Nigerian Police Force can...
Chairman, go to the conclusion. Go to the conclusion because...
In conclusion, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the establishment of the Nigeria Police Force University of Science and Technology in Erija, Ogun State is a significant step toward modernizing our police force. It will not only enhance the effectiveness of law enforcement in Nigeria, but also contribute positively to national security and community relations. Therefore, I urge you all to support this bill, recognizing its potential to transform the Nigeria Police Force into a progressive, technology-driven, and capable institution. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there anybody against this bill? Those in favor that the bill be read second time, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Now, second. Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Police University of Science and Technology, Erija, Ogun State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration, and for other related matters, 2025, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Police University of Science and Technology, Erija, Ogun State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration, and for other related matters, 2023, second reading taken. The bill is therefore referred to the Committee on Police Affairs to report within 4 weeks. Clerk of the Senate, the Senate Leader.
Mr. Senate President, distinguished colleague, the fourth order of the day is the second reading of the National Insurance Commission Act, Repeal and Enactment, Bill 2025 SB 394. Distinguished Senator will record that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Osita Usenaso, who is standing in for Senator Abiru Michael Adetokunbo, to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Osita Usenaso, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Osita Usenaso. I represent Imo West. I rise to lead the debate on a bill for an act to repeal the National Insurance Commission Act 1997 and to enact the Insurance Regulatory Commission Bill 2025 and for other matters connected therewith. This bill is being sponsored by Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, my humble self, Senator Steve Nassau, and others. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is my pleasure and delight.
Senator Osina, so please try to summarize. It's very bulky.
I will do that.
Just go to the recommendation.
I will soon go to the recommendation. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it's my pleasure and delight to lead the debate on the general principle of this bill to repeal the Nigeria National Insurance Commission Act and to enact the Insurance Regulatory Commission Bill 2025 and for other matters connected thereto. Mr. President, I would like to go straight to the conclusion. On a general note, this bill seeks to create a more effective, robust, and efficient regulatory framework for Nigerians' insurance policy that will meet the challenges posed by technology, information flow, trans-border movement of goods, services, and people. The bill also tends to promote financial stability, economic growth, consumer protection, and competitiveness. The NICOM Act of 1997 has served its purpose, and it is no longer sufficient to properly empower the Commission to effectively regulate Nigerians' rapidly evolving insurance industry. To address its deficiencies and align with current realities, a comprehensive review is required. Hence, the proposal for the repeal and enactment of the bill. By doing so, Nigerians can establish a modern, robust, and well-regulated insurance market that will foster growth, protect consumers, and enhance the overall stability of the industry. I therefore appeal for your support for the passage of this bill. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, this bill has no financial implication and no compendium is attached as required by Order 76 sub 3 of our standing orders 2023 as amended. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
In view of the fact that this is second reading and the lead debate is very clear, is there anybody against this bill? Those in favor that the bill be read second time, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
No, yeah.
The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to repeal the National Insurance Commission and to enact the Insurance Regulatory Commission 2025 and for other matters connected there with 2025 as second reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the National Insurance Commission and to enact the Insurance Regulatory Commission 2025 and for other matters connected therein 2025 second reading taken. The bill is referred to the Committee on Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions to report back within 4 weeks. The Senate Leader. Go ahead.
Mr. President, I want to seek your indulgence that we take the fifth order and the sixth order together. Mr. President, the fifth order of the day is presentation and consideration of report on Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition on the screening of Honorable Ibrahim Zachary Sarina for appointment as member of Public Complaints Commission. And report in respect of petition from Honorable Barrister Amechi Iwora, Commissioner Southeast Zone, against the National Assembly Service Commission over the alleged appointment of two new commissioners from the zone in 2025 when the tenure of commissioner from the same zone has not elapsed. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Emmanuel Neda Bernard to move the motion for the Senate to consider the two reports.
First one is confirmation.
Mr. President, I will want to restate my earlier pronouncement. I will take the two together so we can pick on the fifth order of the day to consider the report. I so move.
Senator Delta, Emerson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Neda Emanswe, representing Edo South Senatorial District Chairman.
But you don't combine them together. Take on the first report first.
Okay. Chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to present a report that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee of Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions on the confirmation of the nomination of Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarina for appointment as member of the Public Complaints Commission. If it pleases, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, may I lead this report.
The report.
President, distinguished colleagues, recall that the Senate, at its sitting on Wednesday, 5th February 2025, considered referred the request for confirmation of nomination of Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarino, Kano State, for appointment as a member of the Public Complaints Commission, PCC, to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct.
Senator Neda, you may just summarize, go to the observation and findings. So that,
and public
observation, finding, and recommendation.
For legislative actions. Consequently, Mr. President, the committee met, and this is the observation findings, and then the recommendation of the committee. After studying the Public Complaints Commission Act of 1975 and other relevant documents in respect of the nominee, the committee found as follows. 1, that the nomination of the candidate for appointment as member of the Public Complaint Commission was in line with Section 2, Subsection 1 of the PCC Act of 1975. 2, that the nominee had been cleared by the Nigerian Police Force and possessed the Code of Conduct of Knowledge acknowledgement slip, that there was no petitions against him before the committee. 4, that from his educational background, experience, and exposure as noticed during the screening, the nominee is suitable, qualified, and competent to hold such high office as member of the Public Complaints Commission on behalf of the government and the nation of Nigeria. We therefore recommend that after carefully studying the PCC Act and related documents in respect of the nomination of the nominee as member of PCC, and having sat with the nominee in questions and answer sessions, the committee hereby recommend as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarina as member of the PCC. Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues.
The Senate leader, you may move to so that we can go to.
Mr. Senate President.
Sorry. Senator Titus, can you please second the motion? You didn't second the motion initially of the motion moved by Senator Nelda Emerson. Just second.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to support the motion as moved by distinguished Senator Neda as well second.
Those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader, we can now go to the committee of whole to consider report. Move the motion.
Mr. President, I so moved.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
The motion, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarina for appointment as a member of the Public Complaint Commission? Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Leader of Senate.
Mr. President, I stand to move a motion that we refer back to plenary for Mr. President to report progress.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair to report progress. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Report. The Senate and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Competitions on the screening of Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarina for appointment as a member of the Public Complaints Commission, PCC, and approve the nomination. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarina for appointment as a member of the Public Complaint Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The nomination of Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarina is hereby confirmed as member of the Public Complaint Commission, PCC. Leader of the Senate. Well, let me congratulate Honorable Ibrahim Zakari Sarina for this appointment, and to draw his attention that this appointment is a call to serve our nation. And since we know him as someone that has an outstanding pedigree, a former member of the Kano State House of Assembly, someone who has done very well in discharging his duties in all assignments that were previously given to him. It is expected that he will replicate what he did before in other assignments that were given to him in this new office. We wish him good luck, and we wish him the best of time as a member, as a commissioner of this respected commission. The Senate Leader. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, you may wish to invite the chairman of the Committee on Ethics and Privilege to continue with public petition of Honorable Barrister Amechi Nwosu, Commissioner Southeast Zone.
Senator Nelda, you have the floor.
Assembly. Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Senator Nelda Emaswe, representing Edo South Senatorial District, Chairman, Standing Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition. I stand to move that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee of Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition of Honorable Barrister Amechi Nwosu, Commissioner Southeast Zone, against the National Assembly Service Commission over an alleged appointment of 2 new commissioners from the zone in 2025 when his tenure as a commissioner from the same zone had not elapsed. With your permission, Mr. President, may I step forward to present this report?
Senator Joel, can you second the motion? Joel Thomas. Second the motion as moved by Senator Nelda, your neighbor from Edo State.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues.
I don't want to write you, just second the motion.
I second the motion, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
No. Oh, sorry. Those in favor that in favor of the motion moved by Senator Nelda and second by Senator Joel Thomas, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We can move on.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues,
you can go to your final recommendation.
Yes, I'll go on a brief section of this. This report, Mr. President, was referred to our committee for investigation as to why we have two nominees from the same zone. Having received written and oral report of the petitioner, and after carefully studying the presentation made by Honorable Amechi Nwosu, the following observations were made. One, that the National Assembly Service Commission comprised the chairman and 12 members with 2 from each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country in accordance with the federal character as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1919 as amended, and also as provided in National Service Commission Act. 2, that during the nomination and inauguration of the chairman and members of the NAS on 7 February 2020, 2026, 2020 and 26 February 2020, respectively, 2 Southeast candidates were nominated for screening, but one of them did not accept his nomination and thereby did not show up for screening. 3, that a vacant position created by this decline was from Imo State, and it lasted for almost 2 years before Honorable Barrister Amechi Nwosu was appointed to fill it as a commissioner of NAS, National Assembly Service Commission, representing Imo Abia in the commission with effect from 15 October 2021 for a 5-year term. 4, that the prayer of the petitioner, Honorable Barrister Amechi Nwosu, to allow him to stay in the office up to 14th October 2026, according to his letter of appointment, and also not to exit alongside his colleagues, commissioners from other states, will amount to unlawful elongation of the statutory tenure office of commissioners in the National Assembly Service Commission. 5, that the vacant position of the commissioner filled by Honorable Barrister Nwosu with a 5-year tenure cannot supersede the duration of appointment of a 5-year term started by the appointment of the nominee that declined this position, and therefore the exit date of the petitioner should be the same date of his colleagues, commissioners, in the 5th National Assembly Commission exit date from office. 6, that Mr. Nwosu from Abia State, nominated recently as Commissioner for Imo Abia in National Assembly Service Commission for 5 years tenure of the 6th Commission of National Assembly Service Commission, but his screening was stepped down by the Senate now to be allowed to screen by Committee on Establishment for the confirmation of the Senate. Our recommendation, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, that in view of the findings, committee recommends that the Senate do uphold the nomination of Mr. Nwosu as Commissioner Southeast in the National Assembly Service Commission and also approve his screening by the Senate Committee on Establishment by the confirmation by the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I express my appreciation to the Senate President and the entire Senate for the opportunity given to us to serve. Thank you, Mr. President.
That the Senate do uphold the nomination of Mr. Nwosu Kalu as Commissioner of Service in the National Assembly Service Commission, and also approve the screening of the Senate Committee on Establishment for the confirmation by the Senate. Please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the seventh order of the day are House bills for concurrence as listed on the order paper. Mr. President, for simple nature of the bills and interchamber reciprocity, I will present a lead debate on this bill with your permission.
Minority Leader. Senate Leader. Proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Lead debate on the bills for concurrence from the House of Representatives, sponsored by the Senate Leader, Senator Bamidele Michael Ofeyemi, on Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM, Bende Establishment Bill 2025, HB 25. Federal College of Education, Bende Establishment Bill 2025, HB 125, and Nigerian Forest Security Service Bill 2024, HB 90. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, permit me to lead debate on these important bills from House of Representatives for concurrence of this chamber. Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM, Bende Establishment Bill 2025 was read for the first time today, Thursday, 27 March 2025. This bill seeks to establish Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Bende, in Abia State. 2. Federal College of Education, Bende, Establishment Bill 2025 HB 125 was read for the first time today, Thursday, 27 March 2025. This bill seeks to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Education, Bende, as an institute to offer full-time courses leading to the award of National Certificate of Education, diplomas, etc. 3. Nigerian Forest Security Services Bill 2024 HB 90 was read for the first time on Tuesday, 30th April 2024. This bill seeks to establish Nigerian Forest Security Service for the prevention and combating of crimes in Nigerian forests and other related activities of the service within Nigerian forest. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, these bills are straightforward and have gone through the necessary legislative process in the House of Representatives. I therefore urge you all to support the second reading of this bill as we refer them to Committee of Whole for clause-by-clause consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Any contribution? Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I think that these bills are very straightforward, and coming from the House of Representatives, I want to believe that it would have gone through all the crucibles required for concurrence. And in the spirit of reciprocity, I urge my colleagues and the Senate to consider these bills appropriately. I submit, Mr. President.
Is there anybody that is opposed to these bills? No. Okay. Leader of the Senate, you may wish to move that we're going to. Okay, it's for second reading. Okay. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to establish the federal... No, concurrence. Jesus. Sorry. It's concurrence now. Yeah. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM Bendel, to make comprehensive provisions for due management and administration and for related matters 2025, second reading. Distinguished Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education Bendel to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied sciences, commerce, arts, social sciences, humanity, and management, and to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques and make provisions for the appointment of a provost and the officials of the college and for related matters, 2025, second reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Forest Security Service, NFSS, to provide and combat forest crimes and enhance security within Nigerian forests and for related matters, 2025, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Bender, Abia State, to make comprehensive provisions for due management and administration and for related matters 2025, HB 25. Second reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Bender, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied sciences and commerce, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques and make provisions for the appointment of a provost and the officials of the college and for related matters 2025, HB 125, second reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Nigeria Forest Security Service, NFSS, to prevent and combat forest crimes and enhance security within Nigerian forests and for related matters 2025, HB 90, second reading taken. These bills are now committed to the Committee of the Whole for immediate consideration. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President,
Just
colleagues.
Leader, just a minute. Just an emergency because the Deputy Senate President will be on his way out to represent us in a few minutes. Just to announce the passing on to glory of Hajia Safaru Omar Rada, the mother of the governor of Katsina State, Dr. Diko Omar Rada, who happens to be one of the very fine APC governors in Nigeria. We want to, on behalf of the Senate, condole with the governor, condole with the good people of Katsina State over the unfortunate demise of his dear mother. And I urge the Senate, utilizing Senate Rule 1B, to indulge me and rise to observe a minute silence in honor of this great woman, the mother of our dear governor in Katsina State. May we rise. May the soul of Hajia Safaru Omar Rada find repose in Fida Aman. Amen. So the Senate delegation to Katsina will be led by the Deputy Senate President and accompanied by a few senators. You have already named them. No, yeah, okay. So please, I wish you join him and assist. Thank you. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Motion to Order 78-3. I move that the bill now be referred to Committee of Whole for consideration. I so move.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I support the motion that the Senate resolves into the Committee of the Whole for further consideration of the bills. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that these three bills for concurrence now be held be taken by the Committee of the Whole. We resolve it to Committee of the Whole to consider the bills clause by clauses. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we resolve it to Committee of the Whole. Distinguished colleagues, Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM, Bender State Establishment Bill 2025, HB 25 for concurrence. Those in support of the long title on page 1 say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 2 to 10. Those in support that clauses 2 to 10 form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 11 to 20. Those in support that clauses 11 to 20 form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 21 to 29. Those in support that 21 to 29 form part of the bill say aye. And those again say nay. The ayes have it. So here we have the schedules on pages 19 to 23. And then we have the explanatory memorandum on page 32. Those in support that explanatory memorandum and the schedules form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Let's look at the Federal College of Education Bender Establishment Bill 2025, HB 125. Long title on page 1. Those in support that the long title form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2 to 10. Those in support that clauses 2 to 10 form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. 11 to 20. Those in support that clauses 11 to 20 form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 21 to clause 23. Those in favor that clauses 21 to 23 form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. There's supplementary provisions relating to the Governing Council on page 8, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 indeed. Those in support that the miscellaneous provisions on page 5 and schedules 1 to 4 form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of the explanatory memorandum forming part of the bill say aye. And those again say nay. The ayes have it. Nigerian Forest Security Service Bill 2025 HB 90. Those in support that on page 1 the long title should form part of this bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2 to clause 10. Those in support that clauses 2 to 10 form part of this bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. From clause 11 to 20. Those in support that clauses 11 to 20 form part of this bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 21 to 25. Those in support that clauses 21 to 25 form part of this bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 26 all the way down to 29. Those in support that clauses 26 to 29 form part of the bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum. Those in support that the explanatory memorandum should form part of this bill say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. Senate President, I stand to move a motion that we refer back to plenary for Mr. President to report progress. I so move. Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those who support that the chair reverse to plenary to report progress, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences Bende Establishment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 27 as recommended. Interpretation clause on page 28, clause 28 as recommended. Short title 29 as recommended. Schedules 1 to 2 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. It is a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole further considered the Federal College of Education Bende Establishment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 21 as recommended. Interpretation clause 22 as recommended. Short title in clause 23 as recommended. Schedule 1 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, the Senate further in the Committee of the Whole considered the Nigerian Forest Security Service Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 27 as recommended. Interpretation clause 28 as recommended. Short title clause 29 as recommended. Schedule 1 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I stand to move a motion that the bill now read the third time.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the bills be read the third time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the leader has moved a motion and seconded by the minority leader that these bills be now read for the third time. Those who support that the three bills be read the third time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Bende, to make comprehensive provisions for due management and administration and for related matters 2025, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Bende, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied sciences, commerce, arts, social sciences, humanity, and management, and to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques, and make provisions for the appointment of a provost and the officials of the college, and for related matters 2025, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Nigeria Forest Security Service, NFSS, to prevent and combat forest crimes and enhance security within Nigerian forests and for related matters 2025, third reading.
Yes, point of order.
Standing on Order 83B, I move a motion that we should extend our sitting beyond 3 o'clock.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the Senate sits beyond 3 o'clock to enable the Senate to complete its items on the order paper. I say second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do extend our sitting time beyond 3 p.m. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM, Bende, to make comprehensive provisions for due management and administration and for related matters 2025, third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Medical Sciences, of Medical and Health Sciences, ITEM Bende, to make comprehensive provisions for due management and administration and for related matters 2025, HB 25, third reading taken and passed. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Bende, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied sciences, commerce, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques and make provisions for the appointment of a provost and the officials of the college and for related matters 2025, SB 125, third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Bende, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied sciences, commerce, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques, and make provisions for the appointment of a provost and the officials of the college, and for related matters 2025, third reading taken and passed. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Forest Security Service, NFSS, to prevent and combat forest crimes and enhance security within Nigerian forests and for related matters 2025, HB 90, third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Forest Security Service, NFSS, to prevent and combat forest crimes and enhance security within Nigerian forests and for related matters 2025, HB 90, third reading taken and passed. Let me thank all distinguished senators for sparing their time to go through these bills, which were for concurrence. And to congratulate the good people of Bende and congratulate Nigerians on the NFSS, the Nigerian Forest Security Guards. I know that this will further add to a reduction of crime in the country. And then, of course, the opening doors to education all over the country simply means closing more doors of prisons and enhancing opportunities for over 2 million children who are not able to gain admission on a yearly basis to the existing tertiary institutions in the country. We will one day get to that point where every child is accommodated whenever and wherever that child is. I congratulate all, and I pray that President will assent to these bills to give the bills life and also add to the lofty ideals and achievements of the current administration in renewing hope in the educational sector and then the security of the nation for the benefit of all. I thank you all. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the eighth order of the day is the motion standing in the name of Senator Salisu Shuaib Afolabi on urging the federal government to halt the sale of Lafarge Cement PLC to Chinese investors in the interest of national security. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Salisu Shuaib Afolabi to move the motion.
Distinguished Senator Afolabi.
Mr. President, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my name is Shuaib Afolabi Salisu. I represent the good people of Ogun Central Senatorial District. I am from Ogun State, the nation's industrial capital. Today, I stand to move a motion to urge the federal government to halt the sale of Lafarge Cement PLC to Chinese investors in the national interest. Mr. President, if I have your permission, I will proceed with the motion.
Yes, proceed.
The Senate notes that Lafarge Cement PLC, one of Nigeria's foremost cement manufacturing companies, plays a critical role in the construction and industrial sectors, contributing significantly to the country's economic growth and development. Also note that the company is located in a Wekoro local government of Ogun State, an area adjudged to be one of Nigeria's largest deposits of limestone as an essential raw materials in cement production. Further note that Lafarge Cement PLC has been a key player in job creation, infrastructure development, and industrial expansion within Nigeria, making it a critical national asset. Observes that there are ongoing plans for divestment of the company, reportedly involving Chinese investors, which has raised concerns about the potential for foreign dominance over such a strategic sector in the Nigerian economy. Also observe that Holistic AG is set to sell its 83.8% stake in Lafarge Africa to Chinese cement maker Huaxin Cement Company in a deal that values Lafarge Africa at $1 billion, a deal which is said to be finalized in 2025 subject to regulatory approval. Aware that the cement manufacturing industry is a critical sector directly linked to national security due to its significance in infrastructure development, including construction of roads, bridges, housing, and other vital public works. Also aware that the dominance of foreign ownership in such a sensitive sector poses risks to Nigeria's economic sovereignty and national security interests. Further aware that several local investors and stakeholders have expressed interest in participating in the divestment process, but they have raised concerns about transparency and their limited access to equitable shares. Concern that about the long-term economic implications of foreign-dominated ownership of Lafarge Cement PLC, including capital flight, job losses, and potential challenges to regulating the activities of foreign-owned entities in the strategic sector. We are also concerned that Nigeria has seen increasing foreign acquisition of key industries, raising fears of excessive reliance on external entities for critical components of national development. Further concerned that allowing foreign investors to dominate such a vital sector without significant local participation undermines Nigeria's efforts to build a self-reliant economy. Recalls that Section 16 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, emphasizes the need to ensure that the economic system does not result in the concentration of wealth or means of production in the hands of a few individuals or foreign entities. And also recall that the federal government, through its policies, has consistently promoted the empowerment of local investors to stimulate domestic economic growth and industrialization, accordingly resolves to urge the federal government to immediately intervene in the ongoing sale of Lafarge Cement PLC and ensure that the divestment process prioritizes national security and economic sovereignty of Nigeria. Also urge the federal government to halt any agreement that will result in the sale of the majority or controlling shares of Lafarge Cement PLC to foreign investors, particularly Chinese entities, until a thorough national security assessment is conducted. Call on the relevant authorities, including the Bureau of Public Enterprises and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, to ensure that the divestment process is transparent and allows for equitable participation by Nigerian investors and stakeholders. Encourage the federal government to develop a framework that ensures local investors hold a reasonable percentage in the ownership of strategic industry, including but not limited to Lafarge Cement PLC. And finally, mandate the Committee on Capital Market to engage with stakeholders, including Lafarge Cement PLC, the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, and other relevant agencies to ensure compliance with these resolutions and report back to the Senate within stipulated time. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I urge you to support this motion. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Olamileko.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Adeola Solomon Olamileko, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, I want to thank the prime mover of this all-important motion. And the prayer said it all. And what we are asking for, as you're all aware in the body of the motion, this is one company that has been in existence over 50 years. This is one of the biggest cement company in Nigeria and in the sub-Saharan Africa. This is one company that, one way or the other, has impacted the Nigerian economy through various involvement in various sectors of the Nigerian economy. Mr. President, the company is about to be de-invested. And the transaction has been shrouded in secrecy. We are asking, and what the motion is simply asking for, we want this transaction to be as transparent as possible, where Nigerian investors and stakeholders can be given equal level of participation in the sale of this all-important company. Mr. President, and we are seeking the leave of the Senate to get involved to the extent of mandating our various committees in the Senate, which include Committee on Capital Market and also Security and Exchange Commission, the Committee on Trade and Investment, to look into this transaction and to look into this transaction so as to ensure that all that is needed to be done to the level that any Nigerian who is capable and who is also interested can be given a level playing field, so that by the time the eventual sale of this company is done, we will be fully satisfied that it has been done with much level of transparency, much level of cooperation, and to the extent that Nigeria's economy will be protected, to the extent as not ensuring that another foreign investor is taking away one of our long-standing birthright in Lafarge company. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I urge this Senate to submit to support this position so that we can allow our standing committee to work closely with the Federal Government Committee on Protection, Consumer and Protection Council, so that at the end of the day, we can have a report that is all-inclusive and transparent to the extent of the dire investment of $1 billion in Lafarge company. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I so submit.
Yes, distinguished Senator Professor Jimoh Ibrahim, PhD, Warfare.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, as good, as beautiful, as well-crafted this motion on the sales of company is, we must be guided, whether we are in tandem with the submissions made, we have to be guided as a Senate. We cannot convert the Senate to a sales company or bureau of public enterprise. The laws of Nigeria are very clear. Agency of government have been established by laws, and one of which is Bureau of Public Enterprise. And we cannot sit at the Senate to judge them as being unfair or transparent in commercial transactions. So, Mr. Senate President, I do think that there should also be right of egress, right to enter into contract freely, and right to leave contract at will. The Senate should not be an impediment to a free-flow democratic sales of any company in Nigeria. The Senate should converge to see the sanctity of contracts, not to be an impediment to the contract or be the sales agent. Our committee have no business whatsoever. When a company wants to divest, it can divest freely, but the issue of transparency of government shares, can be captured by our oversight function. But individuals selling have no anything to do with the Senate. It's on this ground, Mr. President, that I want to say very clearly that we must be very, because I'm from the private sector and I have a lot of experience in sales and buying of government assets, and I know the consequences that come with it, particularly in a nation that converges itself without free flow of economy. So my summary, Mr. President, is that there must be a right of free sales, and the Senate cannot be an impediment to government transactions. So there is a Bureau of Public Enterprise that is established by law who anchor with responsibility of selling government assets. So this Senate cannot be the selling agent of government assets, but we can capture the oversight function where it's reported to us that the transaction is not transparent or have some impediments. I urge your presidency to ensure that the Senate does not sit as selling agent or looking at transactions here and there, looking for nothing. This thing has not been sold. Wait until it's sold, and then let the agency of government responsible in the executive arm of the government be the one to do their transaction. We are not transactional Senate. This is not a transactional Senate, Mr. President. This is a law-making Senate. And the integrity of this Senate is very high now within Nigerians. We are not here to begin to conduct sales transaction on company basis. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you very much for the time given to me.
In fact, Professor, it's not as if you are speaking my mind, but the body of the motion already worried me, where they said that the supposed intended sale is shrouded in secrecy. So if it is shrouded in secrecy, how did we manage to find out? Did we use witchcraft? So that is the aspect I would like the mover of the motion to explain. If it's shrouded in secrecy, how did you know about it? Because if it is in a law court, they will say that the matter is not yet due for adjudication. That's what I'm saying. You're not hearing me. I'm saying that as far as we are concerned, there is no sale. And so if the intention is shrouded in secrecy, it means that the matter is not yet due for discussion by the Senate. However, let me hear from Senator Karimi. Since it's shrouded in secrecy, I want you to explain, how did you get to know?
Okay, thank you, Mr. President, my colleagues. My name is Karimi Sunday Steve. I represent the people of Kogi West. Mr. President, I want to believe that OZIM AG is a private enterprise, and they own 83.3% stake in that company, while Odua Group has less than 17%. The person that has 83.3% stake, sir, wants to sell his shares. And he has the right to sell his shares to whomsoever. If you want to buy it, you put yourself together and Odua Group and go and look for money. You cannot use government fiat to take over somebody's shares. That would be wrong. Business has to be transparent. A private concern wants to sell his shares, and you are bringing government law. You want to take over his share. Go back to your people, look for funds, raise money, and go and buy it. That is the simple truth, sir. You can, all this your prayer here cannot stand. It cannot stand. Government, you are just trying to use government to take over somebody's business. That is wrong. And this Senate will not allow that. Thank you, sir.
The Senator Nwosu.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Nwosu, Adama South. I rise to align my position with the Professor of War on this matter. Distinguished colleagues, as the last speaker, the last distinguished senator has stated, this company is a public company listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange with shareholders. It is a company that has changed form over the years. At one point, this company was known as WAPCO, West African Cement, Portland Cement Company. So, and it has changed co-ownership. And companies will continue to evolve. And as investors reassess their standing in the companies, they will decide to exit. And they will find some other co-investor that will take over their own ownership. The motion has stated that the current co-investor is a foreign company, and the proposed new investor that is going to take over is another foreign company. So it is one foreign company taking over from another foreign company. What I don't want us to do is to give the impression that foreign investors, when they come with foreign direct investments, that when they want to exit, we can put impediments on their path. So, Mr. President, I want us to be cautious about this and not give the very wrong impression that we are hampering foreign investment. Thank you, sir.
From even the look at your rules, you'll see that a senator cannot contribute twice to the discussion in issue. A senator cannot contribute twice. So if you had something to educate us, you should have done so when you had the opportunity. Otherwise, you do so in Yewa. Yes, the sponsor can respond. Yes. Yes? By our rules, you can put some lights.
Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. And I think there are a few misconceptions here. Number one, nobody is asking for a fiat to even determine who should buy the shares. The second point we also want to make, Ogun State is industrial capital for a reason, meaning that the environments have been conducive enough for investors to come simply because the environment has not presented any hurdles. However, let's put it this way. There are certain areas of our national life that are considered to be strategic, and that's why we have the local content law as an example. We do not say, as an example, that anybody can come into oil and gas, buy shares, and move on. We said there should be some local content. As it's applicable to oil, it's also applicable to solid minerals. Particularly at a time the federal government is looking at some other forms of diversification of our economy, and they are looking in the right of solid minerals. We are not saying the company cannot divest, no. We're not even trying to determine for them who they sell to, no. We're not intervening in what the sales price of the share should be, no. What we are saying, and that's why it's important to listen carefully, Senator Karimi, what we are saying is that the process for that transfer should be equitable enough to allow local investors who also want to invest. Particular, Senator, I have the floor. We're saying this mineral that has been exploited is in Ogun State. And there are local investors who are saying, you cannot just come and explore our solid minerals the same way you cannot just explore oil and gas and simply say you are transferring. There is some principle of local content that's applicable here. Once the process is transparent, we do not care who buys, but let the opportunity exist for those who suffer the immediate degradation of the environment to say, if you are exiting, we provided you the environment. This company over the years had been an investment outlet of Odua, which is for the entire Southwest. If you are divesting, and the local investor who say, we want to buy, let the process be equitable and transparent enough. If they fail in their bid, as long as the process is transparent, we are okay with it. That is what I think, I wanted to make.
I think you have now hit the nail on the head. You are not against divestment. You are only insisting on transparency. So we can look at the prayer and very quickly come to conclusion. Prayer 1, urge the federal government to immediately intervene in the ongoing sale of Lafarge Cement PLC and ensure that the divestment process prioritizes national security and economic sovereignty. Amendment, yes, Senator Izunaso.
My name is Senator Nwosu. I represent Imo West. That prayer should read, the amendment should be, urge the Bureau of Public Enterprise and Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, to immediately intervene in the ongoing sale of Lafarge Cement PLC and ensure that the divestment process prioritizes national security and economic sovereignty. I so move, Mr. President.
Any seconder? Yes, Senator Binus Yaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Binus Yaro, Adama South. I rise to second the amendment to the prayer as moved by my distinguished brother. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished College, prayer 1 is amended to say, urge the Bureau of Public Enterprises in collaboration with Securities and Exchange Commission to immediately intervene and look into this proposal to ensure that the processes then are transparent and also prioritizes national and economic security and sovereignty of the nation. Those in support of the prayer as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Secretariat, I hope you got the amendment very well. In fact, I think that should even be the only prayer. That should suffice. So the same colleagues, we can now overlook prayer 2 to 5. Those in support that we overlook prayer 2 to 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Additional prayer, Mr. President.
Yes.
Additional prayer.
Because, distinguished colleagues, what you have just done is to say, if you want to sell, we do not mind, but open the process so that others can partake and take care of local content and external regulations and also be sure that the process is transparent, and then prioritizes national security, and also looks at national interest, and outside that also the sovereignty of the nation is not compromised.
Additional prayer, sir.
If there's any additional prayer, go ahead.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I crave your indulgence. I totally agree with the amendment that just only one additional prayer. We can expunge the other prayers because we have a particular instance at under consideration. Mandate the Senate Committee on Capital Market to engage with stakeholders, including the SEC and the Bureau of Public Enterprises, to ensure that the process complying with the resolution number 1 above, meaning that the Committee on Capital Market should be given the responsibility to ensure the compliance with this resolution, so that the resolution is not in vain. I so move.
Any seconder? Yes, Distinguished Senator Olamileko.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Adeola Olamileko. I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator Salis. I so second.
So the additional prayer has been moved that we should immediately urge the Senate Committee on Capital Market to liaise with Bureau of Public Enterprises, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and other agencies to ensure that the divestment process is truly transparent and equitable and meets the extant regulations and also meets local content law to ensure participation by Nigerians and other stakeholders. Those in support of this very strong additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So I think I want to thank the mover of this motion. That is very clear now that you were thinking of the national interest when you brought this motion. And I'm happy. Otherwise, even in America cannot just wake up one day and sell a major national asset to just any country, irrespective of the amount involved, because it can impinge on their security. So this is very important so that somebody will not buy our facilities and use it to manufacture things outside what they intended. So the process must be transparent, and particularly where there are local investors who are interested in the divestment, they should also be given the opportunity. They should not be shrouded in secrecy, and they should not be shut out. And national interest should take uppermost in all decisions of divestment in this country. We so submit. Those in support of what I've just said say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. So let me thank my distinguished colleagues, and now may I now announce that the Senate will adjourn and reconvene by 4 p.m. to enable us to take the votes and proceedings of the first session of today's sitting. But before then, I want to say that Mr. President has granted assent to bills transmitted to him by the National Assembly. And these bills is important, you know. Nigeria Anti-Doping Act 2025 has been assented to by the President on the 21st day of March 2025. The Southwest Development Commission earlier said Establishment Bill Act 2025 has been assented to on the 24th day of March 2025. The South-South Development Commission Establishment Act 2025 has been assented to by Mr. President on the 24th day of March 2025. The Federal University of Applied Sciences Cashier Establishment Act 2025 has been assented to by Mr. President. This happened on the 20th day of February 2025. The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Amendment Act 2025 has been assented to by Mr. President on the 20th day of February 2025. The Federal University of Technology and Environmental Sciences Iye-Ekiti Establishment Act 2025 has been assented to by Mr. President on the 20th day of February 2025. The Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies Iragbiji Establishment Act 2025 has been assented to by Mr. President on the 20th day of February 2025. The information to distinguished senators is good for your record, to know that you are not just wasting your time here, and that through legislation, you are actually changing the future of this country and renewing the hope of all Nigerians in the governance of this country. I thank you all. 4 p.m.